topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Texas, San Antonio, my home state. It is so good to be here with you today. Oh, we have got in the second half, we have an incredible guest, our expert. We're going to be talking about tax relief. Dreaded subject, but you know what? We have got a company that you're not going to have to worry about putting those letters from the IRS away. We're going to be educating you in the second half hour of the show. We're really excited about having them. But in the first half, you are stuck with me. Once in a while, we get an opening like we have now. And I want to share information if you've got a business out there, whether it is if you're an attorney, you're in the legal area, whether you're a doctor, you're in the health area. How about financial? And then we've also got home improvement. These are all of our main headings that we do here on Ask the Experts. You can actually come on our show, and it does not matter what part of the country you're in. Our show is a radio show. It's also podcast. And as you can see, we also offer streaming TV. We've got some incredible partners like iHeart. We're on Facebook. We are on Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, all the big platforms. This is a great way to get the message out about your company. What we do is we do a 25-minute interview. Very easy to do. It doesn't matter what your voice sounds like. In the olden days when we had DJs, yeah, it probably mattered how your voice sounded. But now all people care about is the quality of the information you put out, not what your voice sounds like. And what we do is we interview you for 25 minutes each month, and it's a great way to educate the public. It positions you as an expert in your field. And the great part about it is you get all the referrals. So it's a way to get great exposure, not have to cost you a lot of money. And we literally help you through the show. We've got the greatest producer. I am the host of the show. We are in cities like Philadelphia, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, South Florida, Tampa, Orlando. I believe I mentioned all the cities. You don't have to do the whole United States. You can pick out one city if you'd like. We have experts who've been with us 8, 9, 10 years. That shows how well they do with our show. We rarely lose an expert because they're not doing well with the show. We try to position it as an educational show. We do not want it to sound like a advertisement for the expert. So our listeners and viewers really get a lot out of the show because we do inform you. Some of the topics that we have in legal are personal injury, criminal law, family law, estate planning, tax relief. In the health area, we have topics like eye care, heart, weight loss, hearing aids, hearing loss, plastic surgery, dermatology. These are all some of the topics we have in the health area. And then in home improvement, air conditioning repair, plumbing repair. We have a topic that's really probably one of our best shows, and it is public insurance adjusters. What they do is if you're having problems getting money from your homeowner's insurance, these people go in there and fight for you. And I've seen them where the insurance company offered $15,000 for repairs, and they came and got over $100,000. So these people are really, really good at what they do, but a lot of people don't know what a public insurance adjuster does. With a show like ours, you can definitely learn about public adjusting. We also do roof repairs. Maybe you've got a leak. We just have all sorts of home improvement companies. We also have financial. So you might be a financial advisor. You might be a wealth management institute. We have so many different areas, and what we do is we just ask you as an expert questions that our audience would have, and it is really easy. Actually, the first thing is when we have a new expert is how fast the show goes by. It's a 25-minute show. We do 2 of them basic almost every day, but you would be responsible for doing 1 show a month. So 1 25-minute show a month. You can do the show right from your office. You could be anywhere doing the show, as long as you've got a laptop and a computer. So we hope that we will find that you might want to be an expert on our show. This is our 12th year in business. Ask the Experts used to be on radio stations across the country. And I mean top radio stations. And about 3 years ago, people in my industry start saying that radio, your normal talk AM radio, terrestrial radio, we're going to be the way of the past. I didn't believe that. People know their local radio stations. They do not know podcast. And in fact, I used to wonder why the great Michael Savage, who him and Rush had the 2 largest radio shows in the United States. And Michael Savage one day left all of his 650 radio stations, had over 30 million listeners, and went to podcasts, just like the podcasts we do here. And I couldn't understand why he would give up such a large audience for something so new. But it turned out I was wrong. He literally doubled his audience by going to podcast. When I saw that, and then also it looks like, we don't know for sure yet, but it looks like most of the car manufacturers are not going to include AM radio in electric cars. They just don't get along with each other for some reason. So a lot of these electric cars will not even have AM radio in them. And that's when I realized that I really needed to look into doing podcast, streaming TV and radio. And I actually found, I was so lucky, I found one of the finest podcast companies, W4CY, in the United States. I was very nervous when I went, changing from something we had done for 10 years over into something new, but it was the best move we ever made. So now we are strictly podcast, radio, and what's called streaming TV. It is so, we have an older audience. And listen, when you have an older audience, you worry about, will they be able to find you? And looking at the numbers, people have no problem finding our show. We have so many different experts. Some of our top shows is weight loss is probably our biggest show now. We have some of the finest experts in weight loss. Tax relief has become a huge show for us. People who were embarrassed, didn't really know about these companies out there who can represent you with the IRS and how powerful they are. Personal injury law is another big area. Estate planning is another big area for us. Dental implants, big area for us. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are interested in dental implants, but they don't know anything about them. They don't know how to choose a dentist. They don't know about cost. They don't know about pain or the lack of pain. And the show like ours, you find out all of that. And it makes the show, because the shows do not sound like a info commercial. It makes the shows so educational that you don't want to miss a show. We even have a great category for us. It's called community association law. These are the law firms that represent the HOA and condo association. And it makes for a great show because laws are always changing, rules are always changing for associations. And there's a lot of people who live in gated communities who have an association that they pay dues to every month, and they learn about what they can do and what they can't do. We've got one law firm who is our expert in 4 different markets. They've been with us for 12 years, actually. And it just shows how well experts do with our show, Ask the Experts. If you are interested, you can give us a call at 954-336-3767. That's 954-336-3767. There is probably not such business that cannot do a show on the Ask the Expert show. We've had some pretty strange requests, but we were able to make a show out of it. So again, if you have a business, you have a family member or a friend who's got a business that, look, even with the economy the way it is, you cannot stop advertising. The people, the businesses that stop advertising out there, you might as well just shut your doors, because there are people out there that are marketing, that are continuing with their marketing. Maybe they might have to drop their budget a little bit lower than normal, but you've got to market your business, or others are going to pass you by. And I think what's so great about being part of the Ask the Expert show is you get so much bang for the buck. I mean, I can't tell you how many people, when we tell them everything they get as an expert on our show, and we give them the price, they are amazed how inexpensive it is. And what's so great about talk radio, people listen. Yeah, and what I mean by that is you could be sitting in your car listening to your favorite radio station, and a commercial comes up. Guess what you do? You click right out of that commercial. Or if you don't like the song they're playing, you go to another station. With talk radio and our type of format, you don't want to leave. You don't want to miss anything. We've had people who get to work listening to our show, and they don't want to get out of the car. They want to finish listening to the show before they go into work. So what you have is a very loyal audience that you become the authority in your field. So you can find us, Ask the Experts TV show, and usually most of our shows will come up if you go to iHeart. If you go to YouTube, you can look at past shows. And what's so unique about it is with our show, you can actually target your city. In other words, you don't have to buy the whole United States. We can strictly target your market. And people just love being an expert on our show. As you can see below me, that we run a trailer throughout the show. We give out your phone number. We give out your email address, your website, and it is just a great way to market your business. I want to tell you a little bit about our next show, our next expert. They do tax resolution. And though they're out of Los Angeles, we're targeting the San Antonio, Austin area today. And if you've got a tax situation, you do not want to deal with the IRS. You need more of a level playing field. And our company today, we are so excited about, and we have a representative from them, but it's Defense Tax. And today you're going to learn how you want a company like Defense Tax representing you. Because I'm going to tell you something. We know that when you start getting these letters from the IRS, we know a lot of people just put them in the drawer, think they're going to go away, and they're not. And by having a company like Defense Tax working with you, representing you, those worries go away. You don't even have to talk to the IRS anymore. So let's bring on our expert in tax resolution, Elizabeth Brown. Good afternoon, Elizabeth.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
We're doing well. You made the show okay?
Yes, sir.
You're in Los Angeles, is that right?
Yes, sir. Our headquarters are in Los Angeles.
Now, I got to tell you something. When you say yes, sir, to me, I'm looking for my father. You know, you know,
Steve, in all fairness, I'm a
I'm just
Southern
kidding.
girl with good Southern manners. So,
Yeah, I hear you. So, we're targeting the people in the San Antonio and Austin area today, but it really doesn't matter. If we have someone in Dallas who are watching or somebody in Iowa, you handle basically the whole United States.
yeah, I've represented clients in all 50 states.
Exactly. So tell us about your company.
Yeah, so Defense Tax Partners, we are a nationwide tax firm that assists clients before the IRS and the state tax authorities. We assist our clients with complex matters such as tax filings and tax liability, resolution, tax audit considerations, appeals, U.S. tax court representation. If it has to do with taxes, we can probably help.
Well, we just got our first text message. Let me see. Great show. We've been wanting a show like this. Can you tell us if they handle businesses also?
Absolutely. Yes. Businesses, small, medium-sized businesses have a lot of expertise and experience dealing with. We love our sole proprietors. We absolutely, individuals, businesses, we can handle it.
Okay. So let's get into it. We'll probably do, because you're going to be with us every month, we'll do a show on business.
Okay.
Today we're going to do, the common taxpayer. And Elizabeth, I got to tell you, I know people get those letters in the mail and they put them in the drawer thinking they're going to go away. They don't do that, do they?
No. And if I had a great piece of advice to give our listeners today, the first thing I would always say to anyone with a tax issue is do not delay in taking care of it. If you owe taxes, every day that you delay, your interest and penalties are accruing. If you're being audited, you'll want to provide the necessary substantiation so additional taxes are not assessed. Delaying only makes the situation worse. The IRS has a lot of collection tools at their disposal, Steve. We see people get their wages garnished, they clean out their bank accounts, put liens on the homes. It only gets worse the longer that you delay. So don't delay. And the second thing I'd want to point out to anyone with a tax issue is hire a professional to help you. You don't want to try and handle this yourself. Those tax laws and regulations, Steve, there are 6,000 plus pages of IRS tax code. Hire a professional to help.
What about all these new tax people that are coming on? You hear about these 80,000 new tax people out there. I think you probably know more about the tax laws than they do.
Sometimes I think that we have seen a huge increase. Obviously, the IRS got a huge budget increase from Congress within the last couple years. So the IRS is increasing they're increasing modern technology. They're increasing their agents. They're increasing tax collections. We are seeing not only, the big celebrities get hit with tax audits or come under scrutiny from the IRS, but we're also seeing a lot more individuals and small business owners get audited by the IRS, examination letters, just greater tax collection altogether.
I'm going to let you go into this, but I just want to tell people that the IRS, you don't want to negotiate with them yourself. These people are very good at what they do. And many times when you're trying to defend yourself, you might not realize it, but you're giving them information that a professional like Elizabeth, he's going to know what she can tell them and whatnot. And the fact is, Elizabeth, that once they sign with defense tax, they don't have to talk to the IRS anymore.
That's correct. That is correct. And that's one of the things that, one of the biggest goals with every client that we take on is to assure that our clients' rights are being protected. We want to, ensure that the taxes that are being assessed are correct and accurate, which again, many times that they're not. And more importantly, we want our clients' rights to be protected. So when they hire us immediately, actually in our contract, we ask the clients, do not speak with the IRS. That's our job. Let us handle the case.
Tell us a little bit more about what Defense Tax Partners does.
Yeah, so like I said, Defense Tax Group is a nationwide tax firm. We assist our clients with IRS matters, state tax authorities. All types of complex tax matters we can handle, and we'll assist our clients.
Well, it sounds like from everything I've learned about you, you've been doing this for a long time.
Yes, I've been in this business for 10 years.
She looks too young for that, but if you're not watching, but by being in this business for as long as you have, what does that experience help you with down the road?
Yeah, that's a great question. The ability to be a zealous advocate for my clients. As you can imagine, Steve, and as you've spoken, Steve, just out of curiosity, have you ever received a letter from the IRS?
Never, but we've had a lot of people in our other markets who have.
Yeah. So I'm sure
you'll see that down the road.
Just call us. You'll be fine. As you can imagine, when you're in trouble with the IRS, when you receive that letter, or you're being audited by the IRS, it can be very, very stressful. Usually the auditor is not a lawyer, did not study tax laws and regulations, doesn't know case laws. So when a individual is being audited, whether it's a letter examination or it's an actual audit by an agent, I've seen a lot of misrepresentation of the law or misunderstanding of the exceptions to a rule. And I'll give you an example. I had a case where a taxpayer was a trucker who had represented himself during an audit. He came to us once the audit was complete and had been unfairly assessed additional taxes. So we appealed the decision. Our client, the story behind it is our client had his residency in a particular state, but he was on the road most of the year, as most truckers are. The auditor had completely misanalyzed the law and rulings on Itineracy, which is people who don't have a residency in any state or are traveling the entire year. Truckers can fall under this. So the auditor had denied all his travel expenses, such as meal, lodging, car and truck expenses, and other expenses that someone who travels away from their home for business can usually claim. Again, this amounted in tens of thousands of additional taxes being assessed. Because of my experience and our experience collectively as a tax group, we knew that this particular auditor's interpretation of the rule regarding this Itineracy was incorrect, and we knew how to engage the IRS to prevent that taxpayer from having to pay that additional tax assessment. Steve, we won. The taxpayer did not owe.
I see a lot in the in advertisements, and we always wonder how true they are. I owe the IRS $1 million, and I got off for $15. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but you see a lot of ads like that.
There are a lot of ads out there.
People need to be careful, is what I'm saying.
They do. One of the things that sets apart Defense Tax Partners from other tax resolution companies is we have an attorney who oversees every case. And every case is assigned a team to work that case. It consists of an attorney, if it requires that level of expertise, or an enrolled agent. And the attorney or the enrolled agent are supported by case managers and administrative assistants. We also truly care about our clients. We take pride in our results. It is important for us that not only do we look at each case, we look to how we can actually resolve the actual tax issue. We don't just throw our clients into a tax resolution plan. So, Defense Tax Partners, while I have personally dealt with cases where a client does owe a large sum of money, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we have resolved it for less, or again, we found out that amount that was assessed, that hundreds of thousands of dollars that was assessed, was incorrect. And that's what we do for our clients. Can't guarantee that is every case. Every case is unique. But I would say for Defense Tax Partners, if we're saying that we have a case where the client has owed or was assessed hundreds of thousands of dollars and we have resolved it for zero, that is definitely true. I can't speak with other firms, though.
We just got another text from Holly in San Marcos, Texas. She wants to know, what is an enrolled agent?
An enrolled agent is an individual who, they're not an attorney, but they have years of experience working tax cases. They have to take a course. I believe they have to earn 60 credits through the course. And then they have to take a test and show that they understand the tax rules, that they can accurately represent someone before the IRS, and then the IRS will let them represent an individual.
Is it, we're not here to scare people, but kind of in a way we are, especially people who need to really get motivated and not disregard communications from the IRS. Can they actually suspend your passport or your driver's license?
Yes.
When you owe taxes?
Yeah, and Steve, they're actually they are aggressively denying renewal of passports or denying passport applications if you owe taxes. I've not heard of driver's license. It's maybe particular states, but I'm not aware of that. But passport suspension, they have been much more aggressive in suspending passports.
Well, they can actually shut your bank account down. There's a lot of things that they can do when you owe them money.
Yes. They don't shut your bank account down. What they do is they go in and they take all the money out of it.
Oh, might as well shut it down then.
Right. Yes.
And what's funny? It's kind of funny. I heard that when they do this, they do it on a Friday. So there's nothing you can do over the weekend. And I'm sure, listen, we've heard all kind of stories. Now we're hearing a lot of stuff because of Biden's son. He's got somewhat of a tax problem, but they can really come after you.
Yeah, if you, the longer that you delay, the worse it gets. And it can go from uh, a letter, starts with a letter, to a revenue officer. The revenue officer, if you don't respond to that revenue officer, they will reach out to friends, neighbors. If you own a business,
Wow.
not only will they place liens, on business property, but then they'll contact individuals that or other businesses you might be contracting with that owe you money and attempt to collect the taxes owed that way. So they have a lot of tools at their disposal. Which is why, again, if you're having a tax issue, hire a professional.
I know you've got so many stories, and we don't have to give out any names or anything, but give us a couple stories about things that you've achieved over the years.
Well, the trucker was one of my more favorite cases. Part of the reason it was one of my more favorite cases was because he knew when the examination report came out that he really messed up in not calling us right away. And then once we appealed the decision and it came back that he didn't owe what that auditor said he had owed, he was so grateful. He was so excited.
Oh my God, you must have.
Yeah. I had a client, Steve, one time send me flowers because we had a levy lifted on a bank account. That was another great case. Some of my other favorite cases are cases where we have done such a good job assisting them in a resolution, assisting the clients in getting them into a tax plan and compliant, that they come back to us and they say, we just want you to prepare our taxes going forward. Those are, the clients who believe in us and know that we are going to do the very best for them. That's another one of my favorite stories. I had a client who came to us. He had gifted his children land, and the gifts totaled over $1 million. He didn't fill out his taxes correctly, so he was assessed over $300,000 in
Oh my God.
in taxes. And as soon as I took a look, I said, you're just missing 2 simple forms. I had gathered the information, had his wife and him sign it, and they owed nothing.
Wow, it's amazing. Man, I got another text. This is from Julie. A lot of ladies calling today. This is from Julie. She wants to know, what if you're audited? Do you help your clients while they're being audited?
Absolutely, Julie. I prefer to take an audit case from the very beginning. As soon as you get that letter, call us so that we can set the tone of the audit. However, we can take the audit in any stage. We can, what we do is we help you understand what's necessary to substantiate or prove the expenses that you claim, your tax credits, any of your claims on your tax filings that the IRS says you have to prove. We help you get the necessary evidence over to the auditor, and then we engage the tax auditors on your behalf to provide the best outcome for you. So yes, absolutely, Julie, and with great success.
I'm telling our audience now that probably we'll do it next month, but we're getting a few people wanting to know if you do businesses, which you do. Mm-hmm. Well, we can do a whole show just on business, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great, Steve. And, while we're doing the show, what we can do is talk about some of the ways that we can, how do you make sure that your records are accurate so that you, when you are taking these business expenses, you're sure that you have the records to prove these business expenses if you ever get audited. Car and truck is one of the IRS's favorite audit for the expenses. Not a lot of individuals realize that if you have a car, if you're claiming car and truck expenses, you have to have an odometer reading at the beginning and the end of the year by a third party. So somebody who is taking your, for example, when you go in and you take your car in for an oil change, have them print out your receipt and everything that they did on the car, and make sure that the odometer reading is on there. And then you have to keep a mileage log. Gambling expenses are another one that is a big red flag for the IRS.
How do they know about gambling?
Yeah, so if you win over a certain amount at a casino, they will file a 1099. The casino will file a 1099 on your behalf, and you have to report those gambling winnings. You can only report losses if you get the report from the casino, or you keep a detailed log of all your gambling actions.
This is a tough one.
Okay.
This is from Taylor in Temple, Texas. Wow, reach out to Temple, Texas today. I have not filed in 5 years, and I have not kept records. What do I do? I'm starting to get letters.
Okay. The first thing you're going to do is call us. Steve, I think you have the number.
We do. Give it to the people who are listening on radio right now.
Yeah. So that number is.
And actually, I've got that number. It's
I got it for you. It's 1-800.
Yes.
803-8584.
Right. This is 800-803-8584. I would call Defense Tax right away.
Correct.
But what do you do if you haven't kept records, though?
Well, we can get, so, it depends on what type of records that we're talking about, but we can get records from the IRS that show what has been reported to the IRS from your employers, so your W-2s, from 1099, contract work that you've done, any type of banks, cancellation of debt, things like that. We can get those records from the IRS. It is a lot harder if you have a business and you haven't been keeping track of your business expenses, but that is something that we are very experienced in handling, and we can help you put your books together and file the tax returns on your behalf.
Tell people what the benefit is of using tax resolution firm like yours versus trying to fight the IRS yourself.
Yeah. Why would somebody want to use a tax resolution firm instead of just trying to do it themselves, Steve? Because a true professional will know what they're doing and how to resolve your matter efficiently and effectively. If I had a heart murmur, I'm going to go to the doctor. I'm not going to try and fix it myself. I'm certainly not going to operate on myself. Tax laws are the same. They're very complicated. They change annually. And hiring defense tax partners is going to assist you in resolving any tax issue. And it's always, for us, the most important goal is to make sure that you, the taxpayer, is receiving the best possible outcome.
I tell you something that people probably don't think about, but when they hire a company like yours,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to get rid of a lot of the burden on their shoulder, because you're sitting there probably dodging phone calls, throwing letters away from the IRS, thinking it's going to go away, which it's not going to go away.
It does not.
And here you've got a company that not only is going to handle this for you, but you don't have to talk to the IRS anymore.
Right.
Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right. And I've had so many clients tell me that they weren't sleeping at nighttime. It was extremely stressful. They couldn't concentrate at work. Steve, now the IRS recently changed this, but prior to just a couple months ago, revenue officers would come and knock on your door. It could be your business. It could be your home. They will come and knock on your door and leave you their business card if you don't answer. But knowing, now the revenue officers don't do that anymore, but still knowing that, again, they can, seize those bank accounts, they can put liens, they can, talk to your neighbors. That's so stressful for a lot of individuals. As soon as we take the case day one, we notify the IRS that you now have advocacy and a representative on your behalf, and that they are not allowed to contact you unless we give them permission, or the taxpayer gives permission, but we ask the taxpayer not to do that. And so many clients who have come to me and saying, I was so stressed, I couldn't sleep at nighttime. Now that you're handling this, I know it's going to get resolved correctly and in the best way possible for me. And so I'm sleeping at nighttime. I'm not afraid to walk out my door. I'm not afraid I'm going to be greeted at my business. It's a great feeling.
Well, I got to tell you, the show goes by so fast anyway, but you've made it so interesting. I guess my last question is, why should I go with Defense Tax over other companies?
Again, what I'm going to say to that question, Steve, and I really appreciate that question, is there's no substitute for experience. We have at Defense Tax Partners, we have helped thousands of taxpayers save hundreds of millions in back taxes, tax assessments, audits, various tax liabilities. We work hard with our clients to resolve their tax issue. Again, we don't just throw our clients into a resolution plan. You will not hear anyone on our team say, I'm just going to put you into an installment agreement and a penalty abatement without pulling your financials, without going through what exactly caused this in the first place. So whether you're an individual, small business, or a business with 1,000 employees, we help you get your life back on track, and we get you the best resolution possible.
You sure this is only your first time on doing a TV show? You did such a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I can't wait to have you back on again. This is, folks, take care of this. Don't let this, we start off the show, don't let this get out of hand. Let me give you the number. It's 800-803-8584. The name of the company is Defense Tax. If you've got a relative or a friend that you know is having tax problems, the best thing you can do, give them Defense Tax. 800-803-8584. If you've missed part of today's show, you can go to iHeart. Just put in Ask the Experts Texas, and you can pull up today's show, listen to the whole show again. Same thing on YouTube. Elizabeth, thank you so much, and we're going to be seeing you again.
It was a pleasure, Steve. Thank you.
Great job. That was Elizabeth Brown. She's an attorney with Defense Tax. That's it for us today. We will be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.